All right, welcome in everybody to the second OnCue webinar that we did not intend to have. I am so sorry to all of you last week that couldn't get in. We had no idea that Zoom actually blocked people down. Once you get to 100, you can't get in. And we apologize immensely for that. So sorry that we couldn't get you in here. That's why we're doing this second replay. It's going to be kind of the same as last week, but we're going to show a few different things, I think. But I want to thank all of you for being here. I also want to thank everybody that is in the panelist area that are going to help answer questions today. Let me tell you how we're going to do this real quick so that you understand and know. We're going to go through for about 30 minutes, and we're going to show some of the new features that the new OnCue has. This new software releases this Monday coming up. We are less than 72 hours away from the release of the new OnCue, and this is extremely exciting. So after we're done showing these things, we're going to open it up to a Q&A. What you will do is raise your hand. You can use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and then Ryan will let you in, and you can talk and ask us questions, and we'll be glad to answer those. We've got our support manager and the queen of all things OnCue, Nancy Schlafer, in with us today to be able to answer some of those questions as well as some of the other panelists. Secondly, let me add that there is also a QA button you'll see down there. If you want to type a question into the QA area, feel free to do that. I'm not sure that we will get to all of the QAs that you type, but we'll do our best to answer those. Those may or may not be answered live today. Lastly, I posted in the chat a little bit of trivia that I'm going to have at the end, and I'm going to give away 2 or 3 of these little OnCue thumbsticks that we have. These are USB-C and USB thumbsticks, and they've got a cool little keychain there. We'll get your address and we'll mail those over to you if you can get the questions right. And the very first question that we had was, why did we at OnCue decide to choose August 1st as our release date? Why did we not wait until September, and why did we not release in June? Why did we choose August 1 as our release date? Without any further ado, let me go ahead and get into it. This is the new OnCue. This is not a training session. This is not a how-to session. This is not even going through all of the features of OnCue, because I do not have time to do that, and you don't have time to sit through that. But I'm going to show you some of the best features that we've added that are maybe not in our current version of OnCue, OnCue 3. The very first thing that I want to talk about is the ability to manage your license now. We can go in and choose Manage License. This opens a web portal where now you can manage your license from here. You can activate your software from here. You can also manage your installations, and you can see when you've deactivated, when you've activated, which installation ID that is, and what computer name that has. But I want to take this one step further in the licensing, and I want to talk about releasing your license. Some people release their license because they move to another computer, and when they release their license, notice that OnCue shuts down when you release your license. Let's go ahead and launch that again. When you launch OnCue, sometimes you're sitting in court and you've released your license, but you don't have your license key. This has happened multiple times to multiple people, and you can't get to your email. You don't know where your license key is, and we're 5 minutes from getting started in court. We've given you something that we like to call the break glass feature. In case of emergency, break glass. This is the 24-hour activation button. As long as OnCue has been activated on this machine before, you get one of these to use. When you click this button right here, this will enable OnCue to work for you for 24 hours. So you have 24 hours to get your license key put in. This is going to be a big deal for people who accidentally did something. And guys, we've all done it. We've all done it. Or for some reason, Windows doesn't update and it loses your license, things that are out of our control. Then this gives you the ability to just go in and break glass, choose activate, agree to the terms of service, click OK, and now this has been fully activated for the next 24 hours. Now, Something else that we've done in our preferences, I want to show you something here so you can see it, and I'm going to make this easier for you to see. First thing, I want to talk about hotkeys a minute. You can now double click and change any of your hotkeys that you want. If you don't like the keys that we've set forward for you, that's fine. Go ahead and change those, but remember the changes you made, right? So the second thing I want to show you is our new UI scaling. Sometimes you don't want to change the resolution of your machine. You don't want to go from 1920 or 1280. You just want OnCue to be bigger. We now have the UI scaling, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up to 145 and watch what OnCue does. OnCue now got bigger. You guys can see everything better. So we've changed that and added the UI scaling into OnCue so you can just scale the program and not necessarily your entire computer. We've changed the way this looks. Going through the look and feel, notice that you have these little bars that are on here that show you. These show you where you're clicking, where you're active right now. That's what that does for you. Also, I want to tell you that today we're going to be doing what's called a picture-in-picture session. So I'm going to be able to show you a couple of things. When I do a picture-in-picture, I'm showing you that blue monitor down there. That's the jury monitor. That's what the jury would see, and we can actually go full screen on that, and you can see it right here. But that's what that is, okay? So let's talk about documents a minute. We've added a feature right here in the top left corner for you. Notice that you still have your OnCue logo. You have what case you're working on. I'm working in webinar. And then right here, this shows the directory. Well, now you can hold down your control and click that, and it will take you directly into the directory of this case. So there's no more having to go browse and find that. You can simply do a control click and go right there. Now I'm going to go into my documents folder, and one of the best practices you have for OnCue is to go ahead and organize your documents inside of your documents folder inside of folders. For instance, here I have plaintiff's exhibits that are all in a folder. I'm going to take these and drag and drop these into OnCue. And this is what I want to show you is our new Add Media Wizard. I'm going to open that up for you to be able to see. And notice what we've done for you. We've given you the ability to see your page count. We've given you the ability to see what the media type is, the source, and whether it's ready to add or not. And take a look right here. This is interesting. Notice that we have one file that is corrupt. It tells you now, hey, this file is corrupt. And we're no longer splitting to TIFF and JPEG. This is all native PDF. The speed is there. Everything is there, so we don't have any problems. Also, notice we have duplicate media IDs. And if you look right here, those IDs are duplicate. Let me show you what you can do. You can actually go in and you could change an ID to not be duplicate. So I could change this to a D, for instance, and now that's no longer a duplicate. Or you can go in and we have basically the ability to assign unique IDs. Take a look at this. When we click Assign Unique IDs, what that does is that will add an _1. So if you happen to have two Plaintiff's Exhibit 13s, for instance, it's going to do _1 for one that was duplicate with that media ID, and then you can go in and choose. Notice this one's redacted and this one's a color copy. So that's what that is. We also have the ability to change things up. Now, here's the problem that you have. You cannot add these documents until you take this one out. This one's corrupt, so we need to go fix it. Just uncheck it. That will get it off the list, and we click continue. And now you can see how quickly those PDFs populate into OnCue. And I want you to notice there is no lag time. We have no problem scrolling up and down between these documents. We can absolutely do that and go to those documents without a problem. They're easy to get to and easy to do. Now, another thing we've added is, notice down here in the bottom of the documents area, we give you the ability to go to the last page and back to the first page, or to click through. And you always know, looking at the bottom of this, where you are. We've added some new call-out features. We're going to click on our call-out here, and we're going to do one. Notice we have our call-out where we have in the back here, you can see that this is all done for you right there, where you have the ability to move it around. You can still see the drop shadow, but hey, if you don't like that, you can simply go here and do a flat call-out. And when you do a flat call out, notice we don't have that. You still have the ability to hold down on your right mouse button and pan through these, but I want to show you something else that we've done with the call outs. Let's do an enhanced. Let's go ahead and do a call out. If you hold control, you now have the ability to take that call out and shrink it down and get it exactly the way that you like it without having to worry about anything else. You can also take this call out and make it smaller or larger. This is all with your mouse button. Also, this is one thing that people have wanted. That's the ability to scroll through pages. We can now do that. You hold down on your right mouse button, hold your control key, and hold down on your right mouse button and move your mouse, and that will scroll from page to page for you. So that is in there as well. We've changed the highlighter a little bit. Notice we can highlight now, and when we highlight, it follows along as we're highlighting. You can even right-click on a highlight and change the color if you want to. You can right-click on a highlight and change the opacity if you want to make that call out small, more bright and things like that. So you can change all of those things. Let's do a call out on top of this highlight. If you want to take a call out away or a highlight away, just double-click it. Double-clicking on any annotation now takes it away. For instance, our tools here that are all independent of each other. You can set the colors and you can set the thickness and the opacity and the blend mode, everything that you want to do. We can go in, you can do that arrow there, and then we can double-click it, and that takes it away. Another feature we have now is our text tool. You can add the text tool in. This is text. And with that text tool, you can now get handlebars to make that larger or smaller, move that around wherever you want it to be. And notice that's there, easy for you to work with, and you can just work on having that text tool. So we've added those things in there for you. Another thing we've done is we've enhanced our split screens inside of this area. This is your viewer window. Notice here that you still have your what media you're on currently exhibit. So on the left, I'm 77.1, and on the right, I'm exhibit 77.2. Let me show you something else about these IDs that we can do. Let's say that you have a group of documents and you wanted to take P1 through PX12, and you want to go in and you want to change the way these are. You want to edit the IDs. You notice we can do a find and replace now, where I can find X, replace with nothing, click OK, and those are now P1, P2, P3, P4. Notice how we do that. So we took the best of bulk rename utility and put it into OnCue so that you're able to go in and do that. Now, we've also added our workflow ribbon. We've added some new things to it, so that you can do it. Present designations, for instance, if you want to present designations, and we'll be going over that in just a moment. Our add media icon is still there, so you can go in and do those things off of the workflow ribbon. Another thing we've added is our displays feature. Now let me tell you about this. This is basically a matrix switch inside of OnCue. It chooses where you want to display your documents. Now I will tell you, it gives you the ability to blank certain monitors, but if you have a distribution amp, you need to make sure that if you have a splitter, it's only going to go to the things that are coming out of your computer, okay? But nowadays, most machines have two different display ports and things like that, so you can choose where you want to go. Next, we've changed some terminology. We no longer have go live. We have what is called publish, and I'm going to show you real quick. When you click on publish right here, notice that that sends it up to the screen up there. If we click on publish again, anything in the viewer is going to go up to that window. If we do a call out here and we call out this paragraph and then we publish that, that's going to go up to the viewer window, to the presentation window as well from the viewer. So let's talk a little more about that for a minute. I want to talk about our on-air mode that we've created for you. On-air gives you the ability to do what some of you who have used Trial Director called mirror mode. We've set that up for you now to go on-air. And notice when I go on-air, OnCue turns red, letting me know that I'm on-air. And everything that I do inside of here is actually happening live up on that presentation screen as well, as you can see there. So when you're doing a split screen, for instance, if I want to do a control / and bring up the next page, notice the split screen goes as well. You can see everything that I'm doing here is there. Now, here's another feature we've added that is absolutely amazing. You can go off air at this point, and let's say that I want to look ahead, and I'm looking ahead to see some different features right here, and I want to see this different area right here. I want to look at this exhibit. But for some reason, what's over here, and when I say over here, I mean over on the jury monitor, what I need to do is I need to bring that back to me because I don't want them seeing my mouse, and I've got some work to do on this document. They want to do a call out on the paragraph on the left. We have a new feature that, as you can see here, is called reverse publish. Okay, that's Alt F5 on your keyboard, reverse publish. So watch, when I reverse publish, it brings back to me what was up there. I'm going to go on air, I'm going to do my call out, and boom. Nobody sees my mouse movement. Nobody knows that I was looking ahead to documents. Nobody knows what I was doing right there. So there are a ton of new features when you're using OnCue. If you want to go full screen with a document, double click it. That takes it back to full screen. Not a problem. Easy to do. I can do Control//, and now, as you can see, I'm just double clicking the right one and bringing up docs on the left, just like that. So that's where we can flip through pages, so to speak. Now, before I get any further, I want to go off air real quick. I want to go back to full screen for you, and I want to talk about video. We have nailed it this time with video. We're taking everything. And if you want to know what we're taking, let's go to Preferences down here, and let's click on Files, and let's take a look. Take a look at all of those videos that we take now. We're taking MPEG-1. We're taking MPEG-2. We're taking M2Ts. We're taking VOBs. Bring it all. It doesn't matter. We want it. Bring it, because now we can take those. Okay, and we've given you the ability, and let me tell you, you want to look through these different things on these preferences. They're absolutely amazing, some of the control and ability that we've given you. We've also got advanced settings if you want to go in and change some advanced settings for audio and video, for your media bar, and things like that. All that stuff is in preferences. I want to talk about video for a minute. We're going to go directly into transcripts. I'm going to double click on this transcript right here. You can see we now have a new waveform area right here that shows you that audio waveform, and this one actually works. It doesn't have any glitches, doesn't have any bugs, and it's going to get better for you in just a minute. Take a look right here. We've enhanced the Transcript Viewer where you can now increase and reduce the size of your text. So depending on how your eyes are, whether you can read or not, I have terrible eyes, and so I increase the size of my text to be able to see it. Everything else has relatively stayed the same. We still have where you can go in right here and you can click the eyeball, and that's going to preview that stuff for you so that you can preview and see that that video works. Now, I want to talk about designations for a minute because that's what everybody's here to see. That's what everybody wants. The documents, hey, we all do this stuff. We know how to do documents. Documents are good. Let's talk about video. I'm going to make one designation for you real quick, and I want to show you some things. I'm going to create a new designation list, make this new designation, and let's talk about what's new in here. I'm going to hit on Create and Edit Designations and take a look now at the brand new enhanced designation editor. Take a look at this waveform editor. I'm going to go ahead and tune this designation for you and show you how easy it is to tune in OnCue. We're going to click the beginning and let's listen.
You took over doing it all. Did Jerry?
Listen to that one more time. It didn't start at the word before. Listen.
You took over doing it all. Did Jerry?
All right, so we need to move it back right here. Move the playhead. Listen.
Before you took
there
over
it is.
doing
That's
it
what we
all,
want. So now we're going to save. We're going to go to the end. We're going to listen. We're listening for the word had.
Did you tell that Jeremy had difficulty?
Okay, there's the word had. We're going to move it back here. Listen.
How could you tell that Jeremy had?
And let's get that had right there, and we're going to save it right there just like that. That designation is done. I want to run it to the jury. Here we go. I'm going to run this for you. I'm going to push F5.
Before you took over doing it all, did Jeremy attempt to do it and it become obvious that maybe somebody else should help him out?
And you can see there that a designation runs. I manually stop the designation because I don't want you to have to sit and waste time seeing that. I want to show you something else that we have we're very proud of called the Designation Wizard. This thing is a game changer. It is a game changer. Let's talk about the Designation Wizard. I'm going to open it up and let's take a look at it real quick. Before I go any further, I want to go to my highlighters and show you that you can still set your highlighter colors now. So I can go plaintiff designations. All right, I can go defendant designations. And I can go joint designations. So I can say J designations, okay? And the colors, we gave you a full color palette now to be able to choose from. And If you have things that you have changed in here and you've screwed it up and you want to go back to the beginning, all you have to do is reset them to default and it will do that for you. So I'm going to save changes. Here's what I want to do. I want to go in right now and I'm going to refresh my case real quick. I'm going to press F9 and refresh my case before I show you this so that I can lock those in. Designation Wizard, let's talk about how this works and let's talk about what this is. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new list. I'm going to give this an ID of V1 and I'm going to call it Holbert Designations. All right, and I'm going to click OK. And that's going to add that in for you. Next, I'm going to choose the transcript that I'm working on, Holbert's transcript. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to get, I have on my computer right now, I actually have a text file that was given to me for these designations. So here's the designations, and notice all the junk that's in there. I'm going to take these designations and I'm just going to copy this, right? So I'm going to right click and copy, and then I'm going to come over here to the Designation Wizard and I'm going to paste it in. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give these a highlighter that they need. So these are plaintiff designations, these are defendant counter designations, and these down here, this is a joint designation. Let's just call it a joint designation. Right here, we give you the errors. We tell you what the errors are. Notice it says page 5, line number 6 through page 4, line number 10. Well, that's not possible, so it should be 5. So let's switch that to 5. Notice now that works. This one, 11, 11, 11. They put too many 11s. Let's take that out. And guess what? Now that's done. All of those designations are created. Let's save the designations. And that designation list is now created for you in real time, ready to tune. And by the way, you see these colors right here? These color bars tell you exactly whose designation belongs to who. The last thing I want to show you, because I only have, like I said, I only have about 30 minutes to go in and show you some things. The last thing I want to show you is our Designation Wizard. This is, or our, excuse me, our Designation Dashboard. This is also a game changer. I'm going to go into the dual monitor mode for you, and I'm going to run these designations. I know they haven't been tuned. I'm going to start at 2 right here, and I'm going to push F5. I'm going to launch it, and now I'm going to pause, and I want to show you the Designation Dashboard. Take a look at this. I'm going to run this in real time and let this run for about 45 seconds for you, and I want you to see that you have the total remaining time, total elapsed time, the designation remaining, designation elapsed, and you know in real time the current page and line number. Also, you are given real-time feedback inside of this with your designations. You can see what's going on that jury monitor in real time. And you have this little area right here that gives you real-time updates of how long everything's going. I'm going to run this for you real quick, and then I'm going to get to the last feature that I want to show you, which is absolutely amazing. We lovingly called it the Holy Grail because for 20 years, nobody has been able to do it. OnCue figured it out. We got it done, and we're going to show you how to up your trial game. So watch this. Let's run the Designation Dashboard.
Fire department.
For 19 and a half years.
Okay. Have you served with any other fire department before that?
No.
And what, where are you currently stationed, or what are your principal job duties?
Currently, I'm stationed at the Healthcare Navigator program. I'm the supervisor for.
Watch that real-time bar run right there.
The HUG team, the radar response team.
And now, if they want you to pause, you could just click on the pause button right here, click on pause, and you could pause it from right here. And if you're going to lunch or something, you need to know exactly where you are in the transcript. You can see you're at page 6, line 24. Now, guys, I'm going into something right now. This is my favorite thing. I'm really passionate about it. We worked long and hard to get this to work. I'm going to take these 3 designations right here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this designation out. I'm going to tell it delete. And then right here, I'm going to delete all these because I don't want this to take forever for you. Okay? Don't want this to take forever. And before I go any further, I'm going to link a doc to a video here. So I'm going to take this one right here. This particular designation, which is V1.3 right there. And I'm going to link a document to that. So I'm going to take P1.1. Well, let's just take P1.4. And I'm going to link it to come up right here on line 24, and I want it to come down. I want to remove the link document, clear it right there, okay? I want you to watch this. All right, now that that's all set and ready to go, I'm going to go back to create and edit designations and get back to this window. I'm going to go to my designations right here. I'm going to right-click and export video. When I export this video, I want you to notice we've added a checkbox for you called Include Embedded Text and Link Documents. I'm going to open the output folder when it's complete, and I'm going to click OK. And now what that's going to do is that's going to export these 3 designations, and you're going to see what we're about to do. Down here in the bottom, you can see down here, this is running for you in real time. It's showing you how long it took. Boom, it's done. Now that it's done, I'm going to do something. You don't have to close OnCue for this, but I'm going to close OnCue to show you that I got nothing up my sleeve. I got nothing under my hat. I am not doing anything extra here. I'm going to close OnCue. I'm going to run this in VLC. And VLC actually has come up on my other monitor. Take a look.
Okay. Have you served with any other fire department before that?
No.
That's running in VLC.
What, where are you currently stationed, or what are your principal?
Look at that. Document comes up as well.
Currently, I'm stationed at the Healthcare Navigator program.
And here in a minute, the document's going to come down.
Different programs.
There it is.
The Hug Team.
Hey, that's all done in VLC. You can do it Windows Media Player. You can do it whatever media player you have. So if you don't want to run your video in OnCue, hey, fine. If you've got a lawyer that's got a case that you want to give them just a video to run, they don't need you in the courtroom just to run one video because they want the text and the link documents. There it is. We called it the Holy Grail. It's actually just export text and document linking together, exports the video, and all is good. I'm going to launch OnCue again. I can still launch OnCue for up to 24 hours, y'all, and everything is good. Also, want to draw your attention, when you get this new version of OnCue on Sunday night at midnight, we're dropping it. That's actually Monday morning. When you get it on Monday, we have backup and restore database features that are absolutely amazing. You can restore and back up your databases. You can also go in and check your databases to make sure that everything is good. So I can sit here and optimize my database. And what that's going to do is when I hit optimize, I'm just going to do that, and it's going to tell me that my database is healthy. We are built on Microsoft's MS SQL. We're built on structured query language. We are not built on Access anymore. So the architecture is completely different. Last thing I want to say before I turn it over to the Q&A and I stop my screen share is OnCue 3 will run on the same machine as OnCue 4. You can have them both together because, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? I do right here. There is the original OnCue 3. The new OnCue will run the exact same way. They can both reside on the same machine. Not a problem. Everything all good. And OnCue 3 cases do not migrate to the new OnCue. You're actually going to have to go in and export your stuff and just rebuild your case. So, with that, listen, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. I think everybody is looking forward to this and wanting it. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to open it up to questions. If you have a question, raise your hand, and we'll be glad to take that question. And what'll happen is, like, John Walton has his hand up. So what Ryan's going to do is Ryan will then allow, and he's going to go in order that he gets them, and he's going to allow John to talk with that hand up. He's now let John in the room. John is then going to unmute and ask his question. So go ahead, John.
Hey, Rob, it's John. Can you annotate the call out on a linked exhibit? So you link.
Absolutely. You mean, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So when a linked exhibit is up there, you can in real time do what you want to do to it while it's up there. Yes.
Okay, but can you do it in advance so you don't have to do anything? So
absolutely. You can. You've always been able to do that. You can just save the annotation and then link that saved annotation. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Stephen Height.
All right, Stephen, go ahead and unmute.
All right. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Rob. Question for you. Does the SQLite database store information about the videos and the exhibits, or just the videos?
Stores the information about the videos and the exhibits. And we are in the middle of working on what's called a notebook package, for instance, where even if the other person that you're working with doesn't have your documents, it'll package all of the documents up and the IDs and everything else and kick those over. So it's perfectly good to do like that. And then video information, you're able to send over videos that have linked exhibits. That stuff automatically goes in a notebook as well through the XML feature coming out of SQL, but it does store the data, yes.
Okay, that's great news. Last question I have for the moment is, does your document manager allow you to input exhibit numbers and trial exhibit numbers in addition to the doc ID?
Absolutely. You can have the doc ID, the name, and the Bates number, and you can alter those however you wish, whatever's best for you.
And could that be imported from a load file?
No, absolutely not. There's no reason to use load files anymore, but it can be imported from a text file. Yes, you can create a text file in Excel, for instance, kick it out to a text, and import names and IDs and Bates numbers via names and Bates numbers via text.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, when you say load file, I'm thinking old school back in our old days, right, Stephen?
No,
you know what I was thinking of. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for now.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Looks like next up is Daryl Xline. Daryl, if you want to unmute.
Hey, Rob. Sorry, I missed the first couple minutes if you answered this, but is the licensing the same on 4 as 3? If you have an OnCue 3 license, it just use the same license info for 4?
Yes.
Or are they? Okay, excellent. Quick question.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. All right. Anybody else with a question? Go ahead and feel free to ask and raise your hand, and we will make sure we get to you. All right. Looks like who we got? John coming back for round number 2. Come on with it, John.
Hey, I wanted to know, the question escaped me. Oh, God.
Well, how about this? Can you answer my question? Why did OnCue choose 8/1 as the release date?
Because that was the date that you released your first one.
That's it, buddy. Hey, listen, I want you to send a chat message right now, if you would. Send it to Ryan. Do a direct chat to our panelist, Ryan Connect, and send him your address, and I'm sending you one of these OnCue flash drives. That is exactly right. OnCue 3 released on August the 1st, 2014, so 8 years ago. That is correct, John.
My question was, I thought, can we have more than 2 exhibits on the screen? So the attorneys, sometimes they want to have 3 exhibits on the screen.
No, it's just 2. We've only got the left and the right, and if you went into that 3 and 4 kind of stuff, you know how that goes, right? You end up where you can't see anyway.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. Next up, who we got, Ryan?
Next up is Carlos.
Carlos Hinojosa? Yeah, it is. He's got to unmute, though.
How you doing, Rob?
Hey, what's going on, Carlos? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. Good to see you again. Very glad that you guys finally got this version out. It looks really great. I got a quick question. Bates numbering.
Yep.
Do you have the ability to manually go in there, just like you were changing IDs, to change Bates numbers and populate documents individually?
100%. 100%. Yes, sir. We can do it. You can do it as a full group of them with a simple right-click fill Bates number, or you can go in and you can manually do each one, or you can do a group of them and then go manually change a couple of them. Not a problem.
Awesome.
Yep.
Very, very impressed. You guys did a great job.
Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate it, brother.
Looks like next is Laura. Laura, if you want to unmute.
Hey, Rob. My question is about Windows 10 versus Windows 11. What do you guys recommend? Would I miss anything if I'm running 10?
No, I mean, I'm going to punt. I'm only going to punt that question because I have my thoughts about it. But Nancy, I'm going to punt that one to you. And Nancy is most of you should know Nancy Schlafer. As I said when I introduced her, she's forgotten more about OnCue than I'll ever know. So I want her to address that.
You can use Windows 10 or Windows 11. It really does not make a difference. It doesn't make any effect on anything. It doesn't change how it works, anything like that.
Not going to see a big speed difference, anything like that?
Oh, no.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Laura. Good to see you, Laura. All right. So who we got next? Let's see.
Looks like Daryl again. Daryl, if you want to unmute.
Yeah, regarding the Bates numbering, if you create the Bates numbers in the software, is there a way to export stamped images or stamp them on the fly in the
No.
software?
No,
Okay.
we took the tact right now that we don't have any reason to do that when it's already been done very well by Zaif Mustafa at Final Exhibits. So done by 5, DONEBY, the number 5.com. Go there. Final Exhibits is the program that we use to do that. I know some people use Adobe or whatever, but this program is fabulous. It's cheap. It works great, and they have wonderful tech support. So I would go there, and you can stamp your exhibits there and go that direction.
All right, looks like next is Noah Wick. If you want to unmute.
Noah, man.
Hey, Rob, how you
Noah,
doing?
what's up, buddy? How are you
What's
doing?
up? Good, good. Hey, I've got a quick question. So when we end up creating some designation clips and I end up exporting them, the quality always seems to be a lot worse than what I originally imported. Have you been able to fix that?
So the quality of what you imported is what we're going to go ahead and call master, right? And you're never
Yep.
going to get better than the master. But yes, so when I exported what I showed you on the screen, I chose for that to be 720p, so it would be a little faster. I had the option to up that to 1080. And so had I done 1080, it would have been a mirror image of what
Awesome.
you brought in. Yeah, the way we've coded that is to be able to do that without it being, you don't want to degrade. And it's always been that way, right, Noah? We've always fought that issue, but I think now we've gotten that pretty well figured out.
I love the changes. This looks great.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Glad to have you, buddy. Glad to have you as a user and a friend. Let's go to who do we have? Okay, so Noah is the last one with his hand up. Anybody else that wants to raise their hand, feel absolutely free to do so right now. We're taking all questions. If you have a question, go ahead. We've allotted some time for this. And if there are no more questions that come up, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and answer some of those questions that we had through the area. And I know we have Q&A questions down in the text. So
looks like, hold on one second. It looks like Navid Poran has a question. If Navid wants to unmute.
Yes, I just have a question about exhibit sharing. Do you still need to hit X every time you need to bring up an exhibit, or is there another way to make that more efficient?
No, you have to use the modifier, and X is as efficient as anything else, right? So X is what we still use. You can go in and change that if you want to another letter, but you have to tell OnCue something is coming, so that's why that X has to be there. So that's still there. That's not going to go anywhere. That's a creature of habit that's been there for years.
All right, looks like next is Valerie Bivens.
Valerie, unmute for us. There we go. All right. It looks like Valerie needs to fix the microphone. So what we'll do is we will. Valerie, can you hear us? I know you can hear us. Can we hear you? Okay, we can't hear Valerie. Valerie, check that microphone and then raise that hand again, and we'll get you back in. Okay.
Okay, let's try Ashley Woodbine.
Ashley, unmute. How you doing?
Hey, Rob. How's it going?
It's going great.
I know I emailed you after I watched the YouTube video of the last one about
Yeah, because I think I kept going to your spam.
Oh, I think so. Although I checked my spam and I didn't have anything in the spam. So,
and for those of you who don't know, Ashley is a friend from Canada. And so she, for some reason, my mail does not have a passport. But go ahead.
Apparently not a passport, although who wants to travel these days? I'll tell
right,
you that.
Right.
Anyway, I'm looking back at the new admin console about we have the feature, the ability to kick other lawyers out of their license on our own, right?
You do.
Instead of emailing you all the time?
You do. You absolutely do. And that's what that very first thing that I did, Ashley, was you have the ability to manage those licenses.
Kick it out as well. Okay,
yes.
Perfect. I wasn't too sure if it just for viewing or if it for anything else, but I didn't know. I love that I can kick them out because that's I'm tired of emailing you guys all the time. Hey, kick this person out, kick this person out.
Right.
So, perfect. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. Good to see you, Ashley. Thanks for being here.
All right, let's try Valerie again. If you want to try unmuting.
All right, Valerie, try unmuting, and let's see if we can hear you. Oh, no Valerie. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, Valerie, go to the Q&A section and post your question in the Q&A, and we will answer it for you there, I promise. We'll get that answered for you. I'm sorry that's not working for you. Trust me, back during the COVID lockdown, back on OnCue3, Ryan and I, Ryan produced all of those videos that were put out, the 23 hours of videos that we did, and there were times that Ryan and I couldn't get a mic to work to save our life. Wasn't that right, Ryan?
Sure is. Valerie posted, is there a way to invert the color background to white with black text?
No. So what she's talking about is actually that background of the viewer being black, or the background of the presentation screen being black, and then invert that. And the answer is no. You cannot do that at this time. If that's what your question is, if your question is different than that and I'm not understanding it correctly, maybe Nancy understands it better and she'll come on and say something. But there is not a way to do that currently. Okay.
Looks like we either have people that didn't unraise their hand, or Navid has another question. Navid, I'm going to unmute.
So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Before we do that, we can do Navid. I'm going to lower all attendees' hands.
There we go.
And then if you have a question now, go ahead and hit raise hand again, and then we'll know. Yep, they were the same. So Navid, what's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't have a question.
Okay, that's what we thought. Sorry about that. We just wanted to bring you in and make sure you were on your toes. Okay, Carlos, right?
Carlos is up.
Okay, so in the presentation window, you used to have to go through quite a few steps to get the text changed and the presentation layout to get modified. Did they clear that up? Is it a whole lot easier? You used to have to work with percentages to get the scrolling text at the bottom.
I'm going to punt that to Nancy.
You punted, and I'm not sure what the question is.
That's why I punted.
So in the presentation window, with the scrolling text, in order to modify the font size, you used to have to work with percentages to get things to get changed around on the presentation screen. This is when you're playing video. Have they changed that? Is it a lot easier to be able to modify that? Sometimes it would show 3 lines or 4 lines of text, and you could, by modifying it percentage-wise, you could get it to show less.
So
it was always. You want to take it?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't want to take it. I'm going to share my screen while you talk.
Perfect. So lines are always how many lines you're showing. But we have made it clearer so that you can see the font size rather than changing characters per line.
So if you look at your screen, Carlos, that's what she's saying. You notice we have number of lines there. We have the font size. We have the point of the font size that you're using when presenting designation text. So I think we've made it easier for you.
That's exactly what I was hoping for, because before it was all trial and error. You used to have to go in there and tweak it and then go back, look at it, see if it did it. I just wanted to know if there was a better interface.
I think we got it. I think we got it better for you.
You did. Thank
you.
You
Fixed the language for sure.
And you can thank Nancy for that, because I think all of those preferences are all her doing. She created all that and said, this is how I want it.
Whatever.
Next up
is Stephen Height.
Looks like you got Valerie in.
Sorry
All
about
right,
that.
thank you. Another question, 2 questions. Are you going to have prepared training material for OnCue 4?
We absolutely will have a full training session. Not only are we going to have videos that are available for purchase to go through a training session, you can do a Zoom training session just like we're doing here, which people do, which go a full day. And we're also going to have, when you get a training, you get the little training booklet thing that comes with it. That's kind of the outline of what we're doing. But yeah, we will have training options available.
But will it be online available if I just wanted to go, say, learn how to make a clip and
Well,
present it?
that's absolutely. It's just like we have now.
Okay.
It's on our support page. We're going to have the same thing, except our new website will drop at the same time, our new support site. And our new website. Listen, our new support site, I've never seen anything like it.
Awesome.
Jason Benzie and Derek Sample and that graphic team have done a wonderful job of putting this thing together. And it literally, I wish I could show it to you, but I'm not at liberty. It is amazing. And yes, you'll have the ability to see those things.
Last question is about the break glass feature. When you use it, is that a one-time deal for that license, or is it a one-time deal, resets every week, every month? How does that work?
Nancy?
When does it reset?
It resets per activation. So it's a one-time deal per activation.
Okay.
So you could activate your license on Monday, break glass on Tuesday, activate Tuesday night, deactivate, break glass on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Every time you activate it, it resets.
Every time you activate it, resets the break glass.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay. Very good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, it looks like we have Valerie again. She's trying. She's trying hard.
Valerie, if you could unmute.
And swing and a miss. All right.
We'll move on to Carlos.
And I think what she's saying too, Ryan, Daryl Exline posted it in the QA. She's talking about scrolling text being inverted from black on white. So instead of it being white on black, it can be black on white. The answer to that question is yes. If that's your question, Valerie, that is correct. All right. So Carlos Hinojosa again. Carlos, what do you got?
Yeah, this question's in reference to pricing, and if it's too early to ask,
ask.
Is pricing going to change any for the monthly fees or yearly fee for the new product, or is it going to stay the same?
Nancy Schlafer.
It is not changing at this time. I can't guarantee in the future we won't raise the price, but it's certainly not changing now and will not be changing anytime soon.
Great. Thank you. You guys have a great weekend.
Hey, you do the same thing. Thank you. Anybody else have a question? Feel free to raise your hand. There's Laura coming back in.
There you go, Laura.
You mentioned the new website and support, you may have said, but I didn't hear. When will that be available?
Same time as we drop the software. We're dropping
Awesome.
we're going to drop the new OnCue site. We're going to drop the new support site, and we're going to drop the new software all at the same time, all to Nancy's angst.
Beautiful.
Yes, I'm so worried about a huge rush and a crash. Freaking me out.
She has lived freaked out over this. I want to take, guys, for those of you who aren't developers and aren't involved in this type of environment, this is you just, it's a very exciting and scary time. My weekend is literally, we're dropping Sunday night at midnight or Monday morning, and we're scared. I'm scared to death. I mean, we've got 48 hours over a weekend, and it's going to be all hands on deck and making sure that everything works because we want you, the users, to be okay. And so, but I will say that this thing has been battle tested for at least 1.5 to 2 years. It's been battle tested, and we've really put this thing through its paces. We've had some really great beta testers that have been involved in getting this thing ready, and so we know that it's definitely ready for prime time. Anybody else have a question? Feel free to raise your hand. There's nobody else in the queue. Laura's back. I think I cut her off early. Now she's going to yell at me for it. Come on in, Laura. I'm sorry.
You didn't cut me off, but in the very unlikely event we find a bug, what's the best procedure for reporting?
Support at oncuetech.com. That is the best way to do everything, and we are actually removing our phone support for this version. And the reason that we're doing that is because everybody does things by email. And let me explain something about that to everyone, because I don't want people getting mad about this. If you send an email that says, hey, my highlighter doesn't work, okay? It's not working. If you call, only one person answers that phone, meaning 20 phones ring, but only one person answers that phone. And what if that person doesn't quite understand the problem that you're talking with or talking about or trying to deal with? If you email, 20 people get that email, and they can answer it quickly. And we can actually answer quicker by email than we can with the phone. And we're all trial techs. We're all hot seaters, just like you. So we're in trial a lot. And so that's why we did that. Also, support is not designed for training. So if you want to know how something works, I would suggest you go to the website. We've covered it. If you have something that doesn't work or it's glitchy, that's when you would send the email to support@oncuetech.com, and that's how you would send those bugs, Laura. All right.
Looks like Daryl wants to know if we're dropping the software at midnight Central Time.
Yeah, I mean that's our goal.
Hawaii time. We're gonna do Hawaii time.
We're gonna do it like Hawaii time. No, it's gonna be midnight Central because that's where all the development's taking place here in Dallas Fort Worth. So we're gonna drop it then. But what's going to happen is, just so you know, you're going to open your OnCue 3, and it's literally going to have a box that Nancy and them have created that says, hey, the new version's available. You want it? Get it. And that's the way we're doing that.
Looks like Peter wants to know how long the demo version will work before he has to buy it.
Normally, now, if you're in the beta version right now, the beta version, I think, goes on the kill on August 6th. For people who are getting a demo of the software, they're getting a 30-day demo. Obviously, it would be 30 days, and then you would have to redo, up or pay your money or not. Anybody else have a question? We are no hands at this point too. If anybody has a question, we are no hands right now. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask.
Andy has a question regarding keeping OnCue 3. Can the license run both 3 and 4? Does that require an additional purchase?
No, I answered that earlier too. And I may not have been clear. That is the same license. So license runs 3 and 4. You don't need a new license. The license works on both, and it can run concurrently. Does it count as an activation though? I'm going to punt that to Nancy because I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, it actually does. Well, it does count as an activation. And if you release the code from one, it will release both. If you saw Rob, he had released his 4 at the very beginning of the recording. And what it did is it also released his 3 license, so he couldn't open a case.
Right.
So when you release, it releases.
That
but the same one works on the same computer.
All right. That was Andy Schroeder, I'm guessing, right? Okay.
Correct.
All right. Good. Well, I'll tell you what, it is 1:52. This is a lot earlier than we got done with the one last week. That was the one last week went for a while. This is your last chance. If you have anything you want to ask, you can ask now. Feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you in and you can ask. Other than that, listen, on behalf of all of us at OnCue and Core and Trial Graphics and De Facto TrialWorks, we thank you guys. Without you, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be doing this release. We hope that it is everything that you've wanted, and we hope that it helps you to be a better trial technology consultant, better hot seater. And we just thank you so very much for being a part of this. I thank you all for being here. And again, my sincere apologies for the mishap last week of not being able to get more than 100 into Zoom. So that's a lesson for everybody. If you have the pro account.
Rob,
yes, hello.
I need to clarify the activation.
Oh, activation needs to be clarified, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Nancy.
1 activation per computer can run both 4 and 3 at the same time, and that is 1 activation.
All right. Well, hey, there you go, Andy. That gives you that answer. So good. All right. Well, that's even better. That's even better. Pro tip for you, if you have Zoom, we had the Pro account, which is the highest whatever level you can buy. And apparently it blocks you to 100 participants. You actually have to have the webinar account, which is another $60 a month if you want to get the webinar account to have more than 100. So we definitely nipped that in the bud and got it where we can have more. Anybody else have anything they want to ask? feel free to do so. Other than that, you will get an email from Zoom as soon as this is all over and done. You're going to get an email that is going to allow you to watch the replay of this, and that replay will be up for you to see it. If nobody has anything else, hey guys, thank you so very much. Well, it looks like, hang on. Thank you, Mario. I appreciate it. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Ashley. For your comments and things you put in the Q&A. I appreciate you guys very much. So with that, hey, have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday getting ready for the release. We're excited, can't wait for you guys to get it.